The massive alien ship appeared on a Tuesday morning. One moment, Earth's skies were normal. The next, a dark shadow spread over New York City as the vessel took position directly above the United Nations headquarters. Air traffic worldwide stopped. Military jets scrambled. News channels showed nothing else. The internet exploded with theories, fears, and prayers. For 3 days, the ship remained silent. It measured nearly 2 miles across, a smooth oval shape with no visible windows or doors. It hovered without any apparent technology keeping it aloft, defying physics and human understanding. Admiral Natalie Wright stood in the Pentagon's crisis room, staring at the live feed of the alien vessel. At 58, she had spent her entire career preparing for threats to national security. None of her training had covered this. Anything new? She asked the room full of military personnel and scientists. A young officer approached. No change, Admiral. They're still not responding to any attempts at communication. Wright nodded. The President had appointed her to lead the newly formed United Earth Defense Force just hours after the ship appeared. It was mostly symbolic. At this point, humanity had no real defense against whatever technology these aliens possessed. In a laboratory at MIT, Dr. Peter Collins hadn't slept in over 50 hours. As America's leading xenolinguist, he had been trying to find patterns in the electromagnetic emissions from the ship. His eyes burned from staring at screens, and empty coffee cups surrounded his workstation. There's definitely a signal here, he muttered, rubbing his face. They're transmitting something, but it's unlike any language structure I've ever seen. His research assistant, a graduate student named Karen Wu, looked up from her own computer. Maybe it's not meant for us to understand yet. Maybe they're just gathering data. Collins was about to respond when his phone rang. The caller ID showed a Pentagon number. At the White House, President Eleanor Martinez sat at her desk in the Oval Office, looking far more composed than she felt. The Joint Chiefs had just left and none of their scenarios were optimistic. Madam President, her Chief of Staff said, the UN Security Council is assembled and waiting. Martinez stood up, straightening her jacket. Tell them I'll be on in 5 minutes. In the adjacent room, a secure video conference was being set up. Every major world leader would be on this call. The crisis had achieved what decades of diplomacy couldn't: true global cooperation in the face of an unknown threat. Martinez took a deep breath. She had been president for just over a year, elected on a platform of domestic reform. Now she faced a situation beyond anyone's imagination. As she prepared her notes, her national security advisor entered the room. Madam President, we just received word. The ship is broadcasting. Jack Rivers watched the alien transmission from a military base in Colorado. As a former Navy SEAL who had specialized in advanced weapon systems, he had been called in as a consultant. His job was to look for any clues about the aliens' combat capabilities. The message began playing on screens worldwide. It showed a humanoid figure with grayish-blue skin, large eyes, and a small mouth. The proportions were wrong. The head too large, the limbs too thin. But the creature was recognizably intelligent, and it spoke perfect English. People of Earth, the alien said, its mouth movements not quite matching the words. We are the Carillion hegemony, a powerful civilization from a system you call HD 8552. We have observed your development for many years. You have reached a stage where contact is appropriate. Rivers leaned forward, studying the background for any glimpse of their technology. He saw only a plain wall behind the alien speaker. The message continued. We are part of a vast network of civilizations that spans this region of the galaxy. As is customary, developing worlds like yours must pay for protection and guidance. We require 30% of your planet's mineral and biological resources delivered to our collection. Ships on a schedule we will provide. Around the world, people watched in stunned silence. You have 30 Earth days to begin compliance. Failure to do so will result in consequences designed to ensure cooperation. This is not negotiable. We have done this many times before with primitive species like yours. The transmission ended abruptly. In Washington, D.C., emergency meetings began immediately. the UN Security Council convened. Military forces worldwide went on high alert. Religious leaders called for calm. Panic buying emptied store shelves in major cities. At the Pentagon, Admiral Wright assembled her team. We need to know everything about that ship. Power sources, weapons capabilities, crew size, everything. They're clearly bluffing about some things, said a CIA analyst. 30% of Earth's resources would be impossible to collect and transport even for them. Wright nodded. Agreed. But how do we call their bluff when they could have technology centuries beyond ours? At MIT, Dr. Collins was analyzing the transmission with growing excitement. The language patterns are off, he told his team. They're speaking English too perfectly, but there are subtle inconsistencies in how they structured certain phrases. He pointed to his notes. Look here. They used expressions that don't match their claimed advanced status. It's like someone trying to sound more powerful than they actually are. President Martinez addressed the nation that evening, calling for calm and unity. We are evaluating this situation carefully, she said. I have spoken with leaders around the world, and we are united in our approach. This is a human issue, not a national one. Behind the scenes, intelligence agencies worldwide shared information freely for perhaps the first time in history. Scientists collaborated across borders. Military strategists developed options, though none seemed promising against a technologically superior foe. As the first week passed, Dr. Collins made a breakthrough. He requested an urgent meeting with the president. They're not as advanced as they claim, he explained to the assembled officials. The language contains subtle errors consistent with a species that's only a few hundred years ahead of us, not thousands. And their knowledge of Earth comes from our broadcasts and internet, not from lengthy observation. Admiral Wright added, Our analysis shows their ship has vulnerabilities. The power emissions suggest they're straining to maintain position. They're impressive, but not godlike. President Martinez listened carefully. So what do you recommend? Need more time, Wright said. Every day we learn more about their capabilities. And I believe we should challenge them, Collins added. Their demand is designed to intimidate. The way they phrase things suggests they expect immediate compliance. Due to fear, after 2 more weeks of preparation, analysis, and global coordination, President Martinez stood before the United Nations General Assembly. The world watched as she delivered Earth's official response. To the representatives of the Carillion hegemony, she said, her voice firm and clear. We have received your message and considered your demands carefully. We recognize the importance of interstellar relations and appreciate your interest in our world. She paused, looking directly at the cameras that were broadcasting to the alien ship. However, Earth is not a world of subjects. We are not a primitive species to be harvested. We are humanity, with our own destiny among the stars. She straightened her shoulders. Therefore, we respectfully decline your offer. We propose instead a relationship of equals, based on mutual respect and fair exchange. We await your response and remain open to true diplomatic relations. In orbit, the alien ship went dark for several minutes. Then its lights flashed bright. A signal that Earth's message had been received. The 30-day deadline was just 1 week away. The response from the alien ship came 3 days after President Martinez's speech. It was swift and terrifying. A beam of light shot down from the Carillion vessel, striking an uninhabited island in the Pacific Ocean. The world watched in horror as the small island disappeared in a flash of light and energy. Where there had once been land, there was now only churning water. The alien message that followed was brief. This is a demonstration. You have 4 days remaining to begin resource transfer. In the White House Situation Room, President Martinez sat with her advisors, their faces grim in the blue light of the monitors. How many lives would have been lost if they had targeted a city? She asked quietly. Millions, General Keith Washington replied. He was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, a tall man with a stern face and graying hair at his temples. But there's something else you need to see, Madam President. He nodded to an aide who switched the main screen to a different feed. It showed thermal imaging of the alien mothership right after it fired the weapon. "Look at the power fluctuation," General Washington said, pointing to the readings. Their energy levels dropped significantly. It took them nearly an hour to return to normal operating capacity. Admiral Wright leaned forward. "They're not as powerful as they want us to believe. That shot cost them." President Martinez turned to face a woman sitting quietly at the end of the table. "Dr. Hayes, is it time?" Dr. Samantha Hayes nodded. She was in her mid-40s with curly red hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. Few people knew that she had spent the last 15 years working in an underground facility in Nevada, studying technology that the government had kept secret for decades. "It's time," she confirmed. In a secured conference room at the Pentagon, Dr. Hayes revealed the truth to the small group of military leaders and scientists. In 1947, a spacecraft did crash near Roswell, New Mexico, she explained, showing images on a screen. "It wasn't from the Carillions. It was from a different alien species. We've been reverse engineering their technology ever since." The room was silent as she continued. "We've developed shield technology based on their designs. Not powerful enough to protect the entire planet, but enough to protect key installations. And we've built prototype spacecraft incorporating what we've learned." General Washington took over. "For the past 70 years, we've been preparing for this possibility. Operation Trojan Horse was developed as a contingency plan for hostile alien contact." He brought up a detailed tactical display. "We will appear to begin compliance with their demands. We'll send shipments up to their vessel. But these shipments will contain specially designed EMP devices and infiltration teams." In a high-security facility beneath Cheyenne Mountain, Lisa Chen sat hunched over multiple computer screens. She was 28, a brilliant programmer who had been recruited by the NSA right out of college. For the past week, she had been analyzing the alien communication systems. "I've found something," she told her supervisor, pointing to patterns on her screen. "Their communications have a vulnerability. It's subtle, but it's there," Lisa explained. "That the aliens were using a form of quantum encryption that had a flaw in its implementation. I can create a virus that will spread through their systems once we're connected. It won't give us control, but it can disrupt their operations at a critical moment." At Andrews Air Force Base, Ben Rodriguez climbed into the cockpit of what appeared to be an ordinary military jet. But this aircraft was anything but standard. Built in secret using reverse-engineered alien technology, it could operate in space and was equipped with shields and weapon systems far beyond public knowledge. Ben was 34, a veteran pilot, who had been secretly training on these advanced aircraft for years. He led a squadron of 50 such craft, hidden in bases around the world. "All systems check," he said into his helmet mic, running through the pre-flight sequence. "Quantum drive is nominal." As the world watched, humanity appeared to be preparing to surrender. Ships loaded with minerals and resources gathered in ports. News coverage showed preparations for the first payment to the alien demands. What the cameras didn't show were the Special Forces teams training in secret facilities. They didn't show the shield generators being installed at strategic locations worldwide. They didn't show the fleet of advanced spacecraft being readied. In orbit, a second alien ship had joined the first, slightly smaller, but still imposing. Earth's conventional satellites observed these vessels carefully, feeding data to military analysts. Dr. Hayes worked day and night, fine-tuning the shield technology. "The coverage won't be complete," she explained to Admiral Wright. "We can protect maybe 30% of the Earth's surface at any given time. We'll have to be strategic." General Washington coordinated with military leaders from other nations. For the first time in human history, armies that had once faced each other as enemies now shared information and resources freely, united against an external threat. The shipments to the aliens were prepared carefully. Each container held what appeared to be valuable minerals, but hidden inside were EMP devices designed to work against the alien technology, based on Dr. Hayes's research. Special Forces soldiers, disguised as workers, would be sent up with the shipments. Their mission was to infiltrate the alien vessel and gather intelligence from within. Ben Rodriguez and his pilots prepared for the most daring part of the plan. While the aliens were distracted by the apparent surrender and the EMPs were activated, they would launch from hidden bases around the world, revealing Earth's secret space capabilities. As the deadline approached, President Martinez addressed the world again. "We will comply with the Carillion demands," she said, her words carefully chosen. "The first shipment will be sent tomorrow." What she didn't say was that diplomats led by Olivia Foster would be stalling for time, engaging the aliens in complex negotiations about the details of the resource transfer. The night before the shipment was to be sent, Admiral Wright met with her command team in an underground bunker. "If we're wrong about their capabilities, this could end very badly for humanity," she acknowledged. "But if we surrender without a fight, we give up everything that makes us human." The officers around the table nodded solemnly. In the pre-dawn hours, Ben Rodriguez sat alone in the ready room, looking at a photo of his family. He tucked it into his flight suit pocket and walked to his aircraft. Across the world, Special Forces teams made final preparations. Lisa Chen uploaded her virus to the devices hidden in the shipments. Dr. Hayes monitored the shield generators. General Washington took position in the Central Command Center. As the sun rose, the first transport lifted off, heading toward the alien vessel. It looked like the beginning of Earth's surrender. Inside the transport, Commander Laura Wilson checked her concealed weapon one last time and nodded to her team. "Operation Trojan Horse is a go," she whispered into her comm. The transport ship carrying Commander Laura Wilson and her team approached the alien mothership slowly. From the outside, it looked like a simple cargo vessel bringing Earth's first payment of resources. The 15 soldiers inside were disguised as crew members and engineers. "Remember, we need to locate their command center and place the devices," Laura told her team quietly. "No heroics. This is intelligence gathering, not a firefight." The team nodded. They were the best Special Forces operatives from 6 different countries, chosen for their technical skills as much as their combat abilities. The alien vessel opened what appeared to be a cargo bay. The transport ship was guided inside by a beam of blue light. Through the viewports, Laura could see other smaller alien ships and what looked like thousands of containers. "They've been doing this before," she whispered. "Collecting from other worlds." As their ship settled onto the deck, they prepared to meet the aliens face to face. They had practiced for everything they could imagine, but no one knew what would really happen. The transport's door opened. 3 Carillions stood waiting. They were taller than humans, with grayish-blue skin and large eyes, just as they had appeared in their transmissions. They wore what looked like armor with devices on their wrists. "Bring the minerals," one of them commanded in slightly accented English. Laura nodded respectfully. "Yes, we have everything you requested. We need to unload." The aliens watched as Laura's team began moving containers. Each person knew exactly which container held their equipment and weapons, hidden beneath layers of actual minerals. Back on Earth, Alex Morgan sat in a secured facility monitoring the operation. He was a military AI specialist who had designed the virus that would disrupt the alien systems. The moment the transport had docked with the alien ship, dormant code hidden in the cargo manifests had begun infiltrating the Carillion network. "I'm in," he said to Admiral Wright, who stood behind him. "Their security is advanced but not as sophisticated as we feared." Alex's fingers flew over his keyboard. "It looks like they've done this before, invaded less advanced planets and taken their resources. But they're not the galactic empire they claim to be. I'm seeing records of maybe 8 or 9 worlds they've conquered, not hundreds." Admiral Wright leaned closer. "Can you access their weapon systems?" "Not directly, but I can create disruptions. Give me 20 minutes. In another part of the world, Captain Ryan Goldman stood on the bridge of a vessel that officially didn't exist. The USS Defiant was hidden in an underwater base beneath the Pacific Ocean. Built over decades using reverse-engineered technology, it was Earth's first true space battleship. "Prepare to surface," he ordered. "All hands to battle stations." The massive ship began rising from its secret underwater hangar. Water cascaded from its hull as it emerged into the sunlight for the first time. Unlike conventional naval vessels, It had no need for rockets or jets. Its propulsion system would work equally well in water, air, or the vacuum of space. Shields at maximum, Captain Goldman ordered. Prepare for ascent. At bases around the world, Ben Rodriguez and his fellow pilots were launching their advanced fighter craft. To anyone watching radar systems, it would appear that conventional military jets were taking off for routine patrols. Only when they reached high altitude would they reveal their true capabilities. Eagle Squadron, form up, Ben said into his comm as his jet climbed through the clouds. Prepare to engage quantum drive on my mark. Inside the alien mothership, Laura and her team had managed to place several of their devices at key junctions of the vessel. The aliens seemed to believe they were simply nervous humans complying with their demands. Central control should be 2 levels up, whispered one of her team members, looking at a small scanner hidden in his palm. Laura nodded. Johnson, take half the team and continue with the unloading. The rest of you come with me. We need to get lost looking for restroom facilities. Using this excuse, Laura led her smaller team deeper into the ship. The alien design was strange, with curved corridors and lighting that seemed to come from the walls themselves. They passed several Carillions who barely glanced at them. They're overconfident, Laura realized. They don't see us as a threat. Meanwhile, at the United Nations, Olivia Foster was meeting with the alien representatives who had come down to discuss the details of Earth's ongoing resource payments. She was a skilled diplomat who had been briefed to keep the negotiations going as long as possible. We need to discuss the ecological impact of mineral extraction at the levels you're requesting, she explained, presenting complex charts and reports. These assessments take time. The alien representative, who called himself Envoy Krell, showed signs of impatience. These concerns are irrelevant. Your compliance is all that matters. Olivia smiled pleasantly. Of course. But we want to ensure sustainable extraction to meet your needs long-term. Let me show you our 50-year projection models. Her job was to keep the alien leadership distracted and confident that Earth was cooperating, buying time for the real operation. In orbit, the alien ship suddenly detected multiple objects rising from Earth's atmosphere. The smaller alien vessel broke away from the mothership to investigate. Now! Ben Rodriguez called to his squadron. Their aircraft suddenly transformed, panels shifting to reveal their true nature as space-capable fighters. The quantum drives engaged, and they accelerated at speeds no conventional Earth aircraft could achieve. The aliens were caught completely by surprise. They had expected primitive missiles at best, not advanced spacecraft with weapons comparable to their own. Target their propulsion systems only, Ben ordered. Disable, don't destroy. His squadron executed a perfect attack formation, firing energy weapons that struck the smaller alien vessel precisely where its engines were located. The ship listed to one side, crippled but not destroyed. Inside the mothership, alarms began, blaring. Laura and her team used the confusion to move faster through the vessel, no longer concerned about being discovered. The virus is working, Alex reported from Earth. I'm seeing their systems failing across the board. Weapons, communications, everything is glitching. The USS Defiant broke through the upper atmosphere, its shields glowing as it entered space. It was smaller than the alien mothership but bristling with weapons. Target their communication array, Captain Goldman ordered. Let's cut them off from any reinforcements. The Defiant fired, its energy beams striking the top of the alien mothership with surgical precision. The giant dish-like structure there exploded in a shower of sparks. In the alien command center, Grand Admiral Zex Thule watched in shock as his ship's systems failed one by one. The view screen showed Earth vessels that should not exist, attacking with technology the humans should not possess. How is this possible? He demanded of his officers. They are a primitive species. One of his subordinates was frantically trying to restore communications. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the homeworld. They're ordering us to stand down immediately. What? Why would they? It appears the humans have somehow contacted the Council directly. They know this operation was not authorized. Grand Admiral Zex Thule's face darkened with rage. He had promised his superiors easy resources from a helpless planet. His career, perhaps his life, was now at stake. Prepare the gravitational weapon, he ordered. Target their major cities. If we can't have this world's resources, no one will. His weapons officer hesitated. Sir, that would violate council law. Do it, Zexthul shouted. The humans leave us no choice. As the massive weapon began to power up, Laura and her team finally reached the ship's central power core. They quickly placed their last remaining devices and activated them. Throughout the mothership, EMP charges detonated simultaneously, sending cascading failures through all major systems. The gravitational weapon's charging sequence halted abruptly, its targeting systems going dark. Outside, Ben Rodriguez watched as the giant mothership's lights flickered and dimmed. Phase 1 complete, he reported. The enemy is crippled. Grand Admiral Zexthul slammed his fist against the command console as emergency lighting bathed the bridge in a dull red glow. Around him, his officers worked frantically to restore power to the ship's critical systems. Get the backup generators online. Restore weapons at all costs, he shouted. A junior officer approached nervously. Admiral, we have detected human infiltrators aboard the ship. They appear to have planted devices that caused the power failure. Zexthul's large eyes narrowed. Find them. Kill them. Teams of Corellian soldiers began sweeping the ship, moving through the dimly lit corridors with weapons drawn. But the ship was massive, with thousands of compartments and corridors, giving Laura's team plenty of places to hide. Laura and her soldiers had split into 3 groups after planting the EMP devices. Her group was making their way to the ship's data center, hoping to download valuable information about Corellian technology and their galactic position. 2 hostiles approaching from the left junction, whispered one of her team members, checking a small scanner. Laura motioned for everyone to take cover behind a set of large containers. As the alien soldiers passed, she noticed something important about their armor. They're wearing breathing apparatus, she whispered once the aliens had gone. They must require a different atmospheric mixture than we do. This information was immediately relayed to Earth via their secure communications devices. In a lab beneath the Pentagon, Dr. Elizabeth Patel received this crucial data. She had spent the past week analyzing the limited biological information they had on the Corellians. With this new observation, she quickly made a breakthrough. Their respiratory system must be significantly different from ours, she told Director Frank Sullivan, head of Earth Intelligence. If they need breathing assistance in their own ship, they must be vulnerable to certain atmospheric conditions. Sullivan nodded. Can we use this? Dr. Patel was already running simulations on her computer. Yes. Based on their biology, they would be highly sensitive to certain sound frequencies. Their ear structures would make them particularly vulnerable to low-frequency vibrations, something we could generate. Sullivan immediately contacted Admiral Wright with this information. Outside the mothership, the battle continued. The USS Defiant engaged the crippled Corellian vessels, targeting their weapons and propulsion systems rather than destroying them outright. Ben Rodriguez and his squadron provided support, drawing enemy fire away from the larger Earth ship. Status. Report, Captain Goldman demanded on the Defiant's bridge. Their fleet is at 50% combat effectiveness, his tactical officer replied. Our shields are holding at 70%. We've taken some damage to the portside weapons array. Goldman nodded. Continue targeting their weapon systems. I want them disabled, not destroyed. We need to show restraint. This strategy wasn't merely moral, it was tactical. Earth forces wanted to demonstrate to whoever might be watching that humans were defending themselves, not engaging in wanton destruction. Inside the alien mothership, Major Daniel Turner and his team had become separated from the others during the initial chaos. They found themselves trapped deep within the vessel, in what appeared to be the engine room. Massive crystalline structures pulsed with energy, connected by thousands of glowing conduits. This must be their main power source, Turner said, examining the technology with awe. If we plant our remaining charges here, we could disable the entire ship. His team began placing their explosives at key junction points, setting timers for remote detonation. Suddenly, a squad of Corellian soldiers burst into the chamber. Turner and his team took cover behind the massive machinery as energy weapons fired, sending bright pulses of light through the dim room. "We need to hold them off until the charges are set," Turner shouted, returning fire with his own weapon, on. Earth Director Sullivan was coordinating the intelligence operation from a secure bunker. Analysts had been intercepting and decoding Carillion communications since the crisis began, and they had just made a critical discovery. "This isn't an authorized operation," Sullivan told President Martinez, showing her the translated communications. "The Carillions are a minor species in their part of the galaxy. This Grand Admiral Zex Thul launched this mission against the directives of their governing council." Martinez looked surprised. "They're not the Galactic Empire they claim to be. Not even close. They control maybe 8 or 9 worlds, and they're answerable to a larger galactic authority. Zex Thul appears to have gone rogue, trying to boost his people's standing by acquiring Earth's resources. This changed everything." Martinez immediately ordered a message to be broadcast on all frequencies, directed toward the greater galactic community. Earth was announcing itself and reporting the unauthorized aggression. Back on the mothership, Grand Admiral Zex Thul received the worst possible news. His communications officer approached, visibly afraid. "Admiral, we've received a transmission from the Council. They've detected our operation and are sending ships to intervene. They've ordered us to withdraw immediately." Zex Thul's face contorted with rage. "How did they discover us?" "The humans somehow broadcast a message directly to Council space. They know everything." The Admiral stared at the tactical display showing the surprisingly effective Earth forces. His career was over. His only hope now was to complete the mission and present the Council with a fait accompli. "Redirect all remaining power to the gravitational weapon," he ordered. "We will crush their major cities before the Council arrives." On the bridge of the USS Defiant, Captain Goldman received an urgent message from Earth. "Sir, our intelligence indicates they're trying to power up their main weapon. It appears to be a gravity-based device capable of causing massive tectonic disruption." Goldman turned to his weapons officer. "Target that section of the ship immediately. Full power to forward beam arrays." The Defiant adjusted position and fired its main weapons at the central section of the mothership. Energy beams struck the hull, causing explosions that rippled across the alien vessel's surface. Inside the engine room, Major Turner saw his opportunity. As the Carillion soldiers were thrown off balance by the impact of the Defiant's attack, he activated the detonator. The explosives his team had planted erupted in a series of precisely timed blasts, designed not to rupture the hull, but to disable the power systems. The crystalline structures shattered. Energy flowed wildly through the remaining conduits. Emergency containment fields flickered into existence, struggling to control the cascading failures. Throughout the ship, Laura and the other infiltration teams felt the impacts. "Time to go," she told her team, having successfully downloaded critical data from the alien computers. "Get back to the transport." They began fighting their way back through the corridors, now filled with panicking Carillion crew members. Dr. Patel's discovery about Carillion sensitivity to sound was put into action. Earth forces began broadcasting a specific low-frequency tone through the ship's communication systems. Carillions throughout the vessel clutched at their hearing organs, disoriented and in pain. This gave the human infiltrators the advantage they needed to reach their transport ship. On the bridge, Grand Admiral Zex Thul received the final blow to his plans. His tactical officer reported with dread. "Long-range sensors have detected a Council enforcement fleet at the edge of this solar system. They will arrive within hours." Zex Thul slumped in his command chair. His gamble had failed, completely. What was supposed to be an easy conquest of a primitive world had turned into a disaster that would likely cost him his life when the Council arrived. As the human teams evacuated the crippled mothership, Earth's forces maintained their defensive positions. Victory was within reach, but Admiral Wright urged caution. "Something's coming," she told President Martinez, looking at the long-range sensor data. "And it's much bigger than anything we've faced so far." The new fleet approaching Earth was unlike anything humans had ever seen. 7 massive ships, each easily 3 times the size of the Carillion mothership. moved with impossible grace toward the inner solar system. Their design was elegant and flowing, almost organic in appearance. In the White House Situation Room, President Martinez watched the approaching vessels on the main screen. The mood was tense, but determined. Earth had successfully repelled one alien threat. But did they have the strength to face another? What do we know? She asked Admiral Wright. Very little, the Admiral admitted. Based on the intercepted communications, we believe this is the Galactic Council Enforcement Fleet. They appear to be responding to our broadcast about the unauthorized Carillion action. Dr. Michelle Garcia, Earth's leading xenoanthropologist, spoke up. If they're truly a governing body, they may be coming to investigate rather than attack. This could be a diplomatic opportunity. President Martinez nodded. Let's hope you're right. All defensive systems remain at full alert, but we will attempt communication first. The disabled Carillion mothership hung in orbit surrounded by Earth vessels. On its bridge, Grand Admiral Zexthul watched the approaching Council ships with dread. His officers had abandoned their posts, knowing their careers and possibly their lives were forfeit. It's over, his first officer said quietly. Zexthul said, nothing. His gamble had failed completely. The humans had proven far more resourceful and technologically advanced than his intelligence had suggested. And now the Council would judge him for his unauthorized aggression. The lead Council ship sent a transmission simultaneously to the Carillion vessel and to Earth. The image showed a being unlike either humans or Carillions. It had a tall, slender form with iridescent skin and 4 arms. Its face was vaguely insectoid, with compound eyes that shimmered with intelligence. I am High Chancellor Vexmore of the Galactic Council, the being said, its voice melodic and strangely calming. We have come to investigate the unauthorized actions of the Carillion hegemony against your world. The High Chancellor turned its gaze directly to what must have been the camera feed from the Carillion ship. Grand Admiral Zexthul, you and your officers are hereby relieved of command for violations of Council law regarding first contact protocols and prohibited extortion activities. Council peacekeepers will board your vessel shortly. President Martinez stepped forward to respond. High Chancellor, I am President Eleanor Martinez of the United Earth Alliance. We welcome the Council's intervention in this matter. The Carillion forces attempted to extort resources from our world through threats and destruction. The Chancellor's compound eyes shifted subtly. We have observed the conflict. Your species' response was unexpected and impressive. The Council had classified Earth as a developing world, centuries away from advanced space capabilities. Dr. Garcia whispered to the President, they're surprised by us. This is good. Martinez continued with confidence. We have defended ourselves using technology developed over many decades. Earth wishes no conflict with the greater galactic community, but we will always protect our independence and our people. The Chancellor was silent for a moment. Your species bears further study. We request a diplomatic meeting on neutral ground to discuss Earth's status and relationship with the Council moving forward. Within hours, a delegation was prepared. Ambassador Richard Caldwell, a seasoned diplomat with a calm demeanor and quick mind, was selected to represent humanity. Joining him were Dr. Garcia, Admiral Wright, and surprisingly, Kevin Powell. Kevin was a former car mechanic from Ohio who had been recruited to the space program for his innovative thinking. During the battle, he had suggested several creative adaptations to Earth's weapon systems that had proven crucial to disabling the Carillion ships without destroying them. I still don't understand why I'm here, Kevin said nervously as they boarded the transport that would take them to a neutral space station at the edge of Earth's atmosphere. Admiral Wright smiled. Because you represent the best of humanity. Practical, problem-solving, and innovation. Those are qualities that might impress the Council more than our weapons. The meeting took place on a massive space station that appeared from nowhere when the Council ships arrived. Inside, representatives from 12 different alien species sat in a circular chamber. The humans were seated across from High Chancellor Vexmore. To one side, under guard, stood Grand Admiral Zexthul and his senior officers. They looked defeated and bitter. This gathering will determine Earth's status within the galactic community, the High Chancellor announced. The actions of the Carillion hegemony were unauthorized and illegal. They will face council justice. Ambassador Caldwell spoke carefully. Earth appreciates the council's intervention. However, we must be clear. Earth claims its independence as a sovereign world. We seek peaceful relations with the galactic community, but not as subjects. A murmur went through the alien representatives. One of them, a reptilian being with scales that shifted color with emotion, leaned forward. Your species possesses technology beyond your expected development level. Explain this discrepancy. Dr. Garcia explained how humanity had reverse-engineered technology from a crashed spacecraft decades earlier, while keeping the details vague. Kevin Powell added, "People on Earth are pretty good at figuring things out. Give us a problem and some basic tools and we'll find a solution." This simple statement seemed to resonate with many of the council members. The Chancellor's compound eyes studied the humans with increasing interest. The council recognizes Earth's unusual situation. Vexmore finally said, "Your species has demonstrated both technological capability and restraint. You disabled the Carillion vessels without destroying them, showing a level of ethical warfare uncommon among emerging worlds." Admiral Wright explained, "We wanted to defend ourselves, not commit genocide. Our goal was to stop the threat, not annihilate your citizens." This statement created a visible impression on the council members. The High Chancellor conferred quietly with other representatives before turning back to the humans. The council proposes the following. Earth will be granted provisional independent status within the galactic community. You will have the right to defend your system and develop your civilization without interference. In exchange, you will agree to basic council laws regarding interspecies conduct and prohibited weapons development. Ambassador Caldwell looked at his team members, who nodded in agreement. These terms are acceptable, provided we maintain our cultural and governmental sovereignty. So granted, the Chancellor replied. Additionally, we propose opening limited trade and cultural exchange. Your species' unique approach to problem-solving may benefit many worlds. 1 year later, Ambassador Caldwell stood in the newly constructed Galactic Embassy in Geneva, Switzerland. Behind him, the flags of Earth. Nations stood alongside a new flag representing unified humanity in space affairs. Before him, representatives from 20 alien civilizations watched as he signed the Treaty of Seoul. With this document, he said, Earth formally joins the galactic community as an independent power. We look forward to peaceful exchange of knowledge, culture, and commerce with all species who share our values of respect and cooperation. That evening, Admiral Wright and President Martinez walked in the rose garden of the White House, looking up at the stars that now held new meaning. It's strange, Martinez said. If the Carillions hadn't tried to extort us, we might have remained isolated for centuries. Wright nodded. Their mistake was thinking we would be easy prey. They didn't understand that humans are at their best when challenged. Above them, the stars no longer represented just distant lights. They were now destinations, homes to civilizations that humanity would meet as equals, not as subjects or victims. The attempted extortion of Earth had indeed gone badly for the Carillions, but for humanity it had opened the door to a vast and waiting universe.